Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. New Ballen for us, not for you. He should never have left his cabin. You gotta tell me twice, cause I only go to the cabins. We got cabins here in Tennessee, and I don't like going to the cabins.
You crazy.
Am I lying, though, see?
I think you would go.
I would go if the roast was better. If those roasts were not, I've had to drive, and after that drive, I said never again. I don't like them tight ass roads. So if the roast was better, yeah, I'll go to the cabin. I'd be like, hell yeah. You want to go to the hell yeah?
But no. Okay.
Yeah. So, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go, man. You want the first part, you got to do it. Check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
like it in with a thumbs up.
Man, I've been wanting to go back to Gallenberg for a minute, though. Personally, I have. I don't know about you.
We talked about
When the last time you been to the woods? Well, it's low-key woods, man.
Probably about 2010.
I think last time I went, I was in college, so.
No, probably 2011, right before I graduated.
I was in college, so.
At college? Who you go to college?
My mom done went, and I told you I had to work that weekend, so I ain't, like, I literally, they went up there that Thursday, and I ain't get off until that Friday, so we left out there Saturday morning. We need to plan a trip. Come on. Let's go. Have I already told? Check out the links. All right, let's go. Let's check it out. Let's see what it's about. Y'all ready? Let's go.
Today's video is brought to you by SimpliSafe. In 2016, 4 friends rented a small rustic cabin near a forest in a little village in Russia. Their plan was to spend the night in this cabin, and then early the next morning, they would get up and they would hike this trail that would bring them to the summit of a nearby mountain. So on March 27th, the friends got in their car, they made their way to this little village, they found their cabin, they went inside, they hung out for a bit, and then by 2 a.m., they had gone to sleep. Little did they know, outside of their cabin in the forest, lurking in the darkness, something was watching their cabin's front door, waiting for one of them to come outside. But before we get into today's story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So, if that's of interest to you, the next time the like button hands you their phone and tells you to please take this once-in-a-lifetime photo of them, agree to do it, but leave your finger over their lens. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's story. When most people picture Russia in their minds, they picture European Russia, which is literally the part of Russia on the western side that sits in Europe and is by far the most populated part of the country. But European Russia only accounts for 23% of the total territory that is Russia. The other 77% is to the east of European Russia. It starts at the Ural mountain range and it extends all the way over 5 million square miles to the Pacific Ocean. And this vast, mostly forested expanse, which is 50 times bigger than the entire United Kingdom, is called Siberia. And Siberia is absolutely brutal. In Siberia, it is almost always freezing cold. Literally. The average annual temperature across all of Siberia is 32.9 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is 0.9 degrees above freezing on average every single day. In addition to the extremely deadly weather that exists basically year-round in Siberia, Siberia is also home to a bunch of huge deadly animals, such as the brown bear, which is the same as the infamous grizzly bear in North America, the gray wolf, which by size alone makes virtually all other wolves look like little puppies. Gray wolves can grow to be nearly 200 pounds. And of course, there is the highly intelligent Siberian tiger, who is perhaps one of the only predators on Earth that is known to seek out and kill people for revenge. For example, in 1997, a hunter named Vladimir Markov was walking through a Siberian forest when he came face to face with one of these Siberian tigers, and he ended up shooting the tiger before fleeing, except the tiger didn't die. Instead, it got up and secretly followed Vladimir all the way back to his cabin, and then this tiger camped out outside of the cabin until Vladimir came out again, and the tiger pounced, killed him, and ate him. And so, unsurprisingly, Siberia has an absolutely minuscule population relative to its massive size. However,
yeah, I'll never go to a place like this ever. Why we both grab on?
Nah, because I'm like...
You need to sip after that bull crap.
Not me thinking I done got rid of,
of the problem.
I done went back, let my guard down. Not thinking about it.
That's crazy shit, though.
Absolutely minuscule population relative to its massive size. However, there are some adventurous people out there who are drawn to Siberia for the same reasons that most other people avoid it. These adventurous people see Siberia as one of the last truly wild places on our planet, and they want to experience it for themselves. And one of these highly adventurous people was a young man named Colin Madsen. Colin, who came from a very successful American family, was a big outdoors enthusiast who at some point in his youth began researching Siberia because he fell in love with its rugged natural beauty. He quickly began researching not only Siberia, but Siberian culture and Russian culture, and also at some point he became fluent in the Russian language. Then, in 2013, when Colin was 22 years old, he left his home in Missouri and moved to Siberia. He settled in one of Siberia's few population centers, a city called Irkutsk, which is located in the southeast of Siberia and right along the edge of Lake Baikal, which is the world's deepest freshwater lake. Colin's Siberia plan was twofold. He would go to school while he was there, and he would go out and explore. And at first, his plan went perfectly. He was accepted into Moscow State Linguistic University in Irkutsk, and very quickly he made friends who were eager to accompany him on his adventures out into the Siberian wilderness. From his arrival in Siberia in 2013 to 2016, Colin did well in his studies, and he spent countless hours exploring the forests and mountainous areas all around Lake Baikal and right outside of Irkutsk. In fact, Colin became so familiar with this region that he began volunteering with a nonprofit in the area that went around marking new trails, which meant Colin was literally venturing into the wilds of Siberia and just marking the trail as he went. So when Colin's family heard about what happened to him in 2016, they could not believe it. In March of 2016, Colin and 3 of his good hiking friends, one was American and 2 were Russian, decided they wanted to go on a hike together. They settled on hiking to the summit of Love Peak, which was a mountain located a few hours away from Irkutsk in a small village called Arshan. This hike was nothing compared to the gnarly Siberian wilderness hikes all 4 of these guys had been on before. The trail that led up to Love Peak, it was fairly steep, but it was incredibly well marked, and all 4 of these guys had hiked it several times before. However, because Colin and his friends were so experienced at hiking in Siberia, they knew that even the easiest hikes needed to be respected because Siberia was still Siberia. There were dangers that lurked everywhere. And so the men called ahead to the village of Arshan, and they rented one of these small rustic cabins that's in the village that sits right at the base of Love Peak, and it's kind of tucked away in this forest. And so this cabin would serve as their sort of base camp and would allow them to arrive in Arshan, get their gear together, and then when they were ready, they could begin this hike to the summit. And so a few days later, on March 27th, Colin and his 3 friends loaded up their car and they drove west to Arshan. And when they got there, they stopped at a local store and got some supplies and then made their way to their cabin. Their cabin was just a single room with a few beds inside of it. It was enough to protect them from the elements, but really nothing more. As for a toilet, the cabin didn't have one, but there was an outhouse outside that they could use. So after the friends moved into the cabin and claimed their beds and put their things down, they all sat down and began prepping their gear and eating some food and chatting. And then finally, at 2 a.m., they decided they needed to go to sleep because their plan was to get on the path up to Love Peak by 7 a.m., which meant they needed to get up at 5 a.m. to make their final preparations. So at 2 a.m., the lights in the cabin turned off and the friends all fell asleep. And then 3 hours later at 5 a.m., when the lights came back on again, it was immediately clear something was wrong. Colin was not in his bed. His friends assumed when they looked over at his bed and saw his personal belongings were all still there, that Colin must have gotten up and headed outside, maybe to use the outhouse or go for a quick walk, and they just hadn't heard him leaving. And so the 3 friends initially just kind of shrugged off Colin's absence and said, he'll be back any minute, most likely, and if for some reason he's not back soon, he'll certainly be back by 7 a.m., because that was the agreed upon time they would leave for this hike. But as the minutes ticked closer and closer to 7 a.m., and Colin still had not shown up or tried to call them or do anything, the friends started to worry. It just didn't make any sense that Colin would just get up and leave without telling them where he was going. Finally, at 7 a.m., when Colin still had not shown up, and the friends' cursory search of the outside area near the cabin had yielded no results, they decided they had to tell someone. And so they wrote a note addressed to Colin, and they put it on the front of their cabin door. And this note basically just told Colin, if you come back here and you see this note, know that we're looking for you. So stay put or tell someone you're here. And so after putting up this note, the friends left the cabin and they headed to the nearest police station where they reported Colin missing. The police would eventually launch this huge search in and around Arshan, both in the forested area right around the village and then also up into the mountains near Love Peak. But despite this huge effort, no one could find Colin, at least not at first.
What do you think that happened to Colin? You think he just got up and tried to go to the bathroom, but he got his stuff though?
He doesn't.
He got his belongings. I thought it said.
No, they said his belongings were still there. And so they was that's what I heard.
So what you think?
But I'm like, either he did probably get up and try to go, maybe.
I hate them outhouse shit. Bro.
Or
have you ever had to deal with an outhouse, like growing up?
What you mean?
Like no indoor plumbing. You have to.
Oh, like go outside to use?
Yeah.
No.
No.
The only time we did that is when we used to go back and visit my uncle or whatever. He had an outdoor. Yeah, because they were still.
He's still living on that.
Yeah, their house was on that.
But still, I'm saying, but he was still
not in like the cabins. Like it was an actual like house, but it was tucked in the back or whatever. But they had a bathroom, but it was always like either the toilet was like messed up or something. So we would go out to but that wasn't my everyday thing. Nah. It was just like on the weekends when we used to go visit.
Nah, that's when I used to go visit my dad. So he ain't have it. So you know what I'm saying. You had to. You like, you gonna hold it? You go to good grandma? I'll be like, bro.
And
he'd be like, it's gonna be an hour because I got something going on, but I'll take. I'm like, nigga, we right down the road. You can stop what you doing. Cause you know how the distance was. But I'm like, bro, take me to.
So what you do?
Man, held it. Sometimes I would hold it, and then he didn't even have he didn't necessarily have an outhouse. He had a bucket. So we would literally have to, like the little 5-gallon bucket. Yeah. Literally have to go sit on a bucket. Bro, you try to sit on a bucket, bro. and for you sit on a bucket.
Did y'all have
and then put a little water in there. Bro, that was.
Did you not have no tissue?
Yeah. Oh. But But think about what you had to do afterwards.
Yeah.
Because you it's in a bucket.
Dispose,
Man, bro, I said, I used to tell my mom, she'd be like, y'all going up? I'd be like, no. I used to be so pissed going over my pop's house, bro. I'd be like,
you want me to tell you something? It's so crazy because when we used to go visit my uncle, I used to enjoy like having to like, I don't know, then we used to go down to the little lake and go fishing and go to the farm and ride the horse. Like, I'm such a country girl. I'm just, I don't know.
I hated that life though, bro.
Yeah.
When I say no TV, no, like, cause it was like, all right, I'm used to the way I live with my mom. And it's like a 180 degree change.
Yeah.
When you go spend time with your dad, you just like, bro, that shit is ass, bro.
Make you appreciate things, huh?
Shit, I was happy to get back to the city, bro. Wait, then even those cities, get back in town, bro. Be like,
just get back in town.
Yeah, I got indoor plumbing. I can do a lot, bro.
That's funny.
The floor don't squeak when you walking on it. I ain't got, like, literally,
That's crazy.
Bruh, the ceilings ain't too low.
It don't smell like
They got rats running around.
You crazy.
Little shack, bruh. Little two bedroom shack, literally.
On Monday, April 4th, so 8 days into Colin's disappearance, a group of searchers were looking in the forest about 1 mile away from the cabin where Colin and his friends had been staying. And they look up ahead and they see there is this clearing and there's something in the middle of it. And so the searchers begin moving their way towards this clearing, ducking under branches and stepping over brush. And when they get close enough, they can see Colin is in the clearing. And Colin is deceased. He was laying flat on his back with his left arm extended out to the side and his right arm extended but closer to his body, and both of his hands were clenched in tight fists. And on his hands and his wrists were visible abrasions and cuts, which later would be determined to have most likely been caused from someone or something holding on to him, trying to restrain Colin. Colin also had visible abrasions and cuts on the front of his neck. Colin's clothing, which consisted of a long-sleeve thermal shirt, heavy pants, and hiking boots, were ripped and torn in several places. And interestingly, Colin was not wearing socks under his boots. Now that seems inconsequential, but Colin had had surgery on both of his ankles and had scar tissue on his ankles that if he didn't have socks on, those scars would rub against the inside of his boot, and he said it was very painful. So he always wore socks. Also, Colin's body showed virtually no signs of decomposition, and all of his wounds and abrasions looked, quote, fresh, according to medical personnel. In short, Colin looked like he had recently been in some sort of physical altercation, and whoever or whatever he was grappling with had eventually overpowered him and killed him, although it was not clear how he actually died. Russian authorities were very quick to suspect Colin's 3 friends who had been with him, but they were brought into the station and they denied having anything to do with Colin's death, and they all passed their lie detector tests. After that, Russian authorities quickly closed this case by concluding that, well, if his friends didn't do it, then that means Colin must have been high on drugs or drinking alcohol or both, and he just wandered out of his cabin and he got lost in the woods and he died of hypothermia. He froze to death. The end. However, Colin's parents just could not.
Hell no! You don't rule.
I didn't give myself, even if.
And I got ribs.
I have marks around my wrist. I have cuts on my neck.
I really feel like
I have
as though
sock.
he ain't got no socks and stuff on.
I have no socks.
I think he just threw his shoes on to go to the bathroom real quick.
But then, if that's the case, this whole time, if the wounds looked fresh, then he's been held somewhere. Someone has. That's what I took from it.
Or because something had ate him, and then. But I'm like.
No, I don't think that. No, I don't think that. No.
Because he don't like.
Because if the wounds look fresh and y'all did this whole search party and now all of a sudden, a month later or a couple weeks later.
Why somebody be in the company talking about it's a Skinwalker? Or somebody be in the company, somebody alien got him.
I don't know. At this point, I'm ready to find out what happened.
I don't think we're going to find out, though.
Oh, no.
Of hypothermia. He froze to death. The end. However, Colin's parents just could not accept that as being what happened to their son. There were a lot of reasons for skepticism, but the main one was that Colin was an absolute expert at navigating this particular region of Siberia. And so the idea that he would leave his cabin for a quick walk or something and get so completely lost that he would die 8 days later seemed way too far-fetched. And so Colin's parents hired a US-based private lab to do a review of Russia's autopsy of Colin to give their opinion if the autopsy was accurate or not. And this US-based lab pretty much immediately found that the Russian autopsy was not remotely accurate. Number one, Colin was not under the influence of alcohol or drugs. He was sober. Although technically he did have very small amounts of THC in his urine. THC is the chemical that is found in marijuana, but the amount was so little, it basically meant he had consumed the THC days before he went missing. And so he would not have been remotely affected by that small amount of THC in his system. Number two, the lab determined that Colin almost certainly did not die from hypothermia. Instead, all signs pointed to Colin dying from being suffocated, meaning he was murdered. Someone crushed his airway or in some way restricted him from breathing, and that's what killed him. And three, based on the lack of decomposition, the freshness of the injuries on Colin's body, and the lack of animal predation on his body when they found him, indicated that Colin did not just wander out of his cabin and immediately die somewhere in the forest. Instead, he was alive for most of the time people were looking for him, meaning when they found him, he likely had died within hours of being found. And so these findings by this US-based lab kind of create a general theory about what must have happened to Colin. After Colin left the cabin in the early morning hours of March 28th, maybe to go to the outhouse or to go for a quick walk, when he went outside, someone or something was nearby, and they either lured Colin to them or they straight up ambushed Colin and took him away. Now, we have no idea what happened to Colin after he was abducted, but we can safely assume that after being abducted and taken somewhere, he was alive, and he stayed alive for several days until on the 8th day of his disappearance, Colin was killed, likely by his captor, either at the spot where he was found, or he was killed somewhere else, maybe in the forest, and then moved to the spot where he was found.
Could a bear had attacked him and frightened him? He passed out, and the bear probably could have dragged the body away. You get what I'm saying? Could he possibly have? And he's been trying to escape this whole time and tried to find his way, but the bear. I don't know.
Honestly,
I have no idea.
I have no idea. And what was it? Just 8 days? Because earlier I said a month, but 8 days because it was March 27th actually. Then April 4th. I don't know why, in my head, I'm feeling like it wasn't an animal. I mean, it could have been an animal, but I'm thinking it was like an actual person. But
he got rips and tears and scratch marks on the neck.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be an animal.
I don't know.
Else, maybe in the forest, and then moved to the spot where he was found. Many people believe it was the Russian government who targeted Colin, they kidnapped him, and they killed him. And their botched investigation into his death was actually a calculated cover-up. Colin had participated in at least one peaceful, environmentalist-led protest in Siberia, and after the protest, Colin apparently got a written warning by the Russian police not to attend another protest. But why would Colin, who who was just one of many people involved in these protests, be singled out by the Russian government and killed for his participation? And why would the government elect to kill Colin when he was with 3 of his closest friends who would immediately notice his absence? It just doesn't add up. Today, Colin's parents are still trying to figure out what happened to their son, but unfortunately, their son's case is closed in Russia, and so no one on the Russian side is talking to the parents or giving them any new information. And so as a result, they and the rest of us are left to wonder who or what was lurking in the shadows when Colin stepped out of the cabin that morning. And then where did they take him? And what did they do to him for nearly a week before they killed him deep inside of that Siberian forest? So that's going to do it.
What you thinking? See? What you thinking? See?
I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. I think that it was an actual person. Someone actually did something to him or some people. I don't know. Like, it could have been more than one person. The only thing that I'm stumped on is the fact that the friends didn't hear any type of commotion going on for someone to even come in there and grab him. Or if someone was making like some type of noise outside, why would Colin be the only person
targeted?
Colin be the only person that would hear it to wake up to even go outside if that was the case.
True.
Or was someone watching the cabin, and he actually did go outside maybe to use,
and he's
the
the
restroom.
only, out of all the friends, he's the only American, right?
No, it was another American. It was him and another American.
Okay.
And 2 Russian guys. That's the only thing I'm stumped on is the fact I do feel like someone did something to him, but the only thing I'm like, out of like, because y'all just like went to sleep. It was what, 2 a.m. Y'all was only, and y'all had to get up at 5. Y'all not in that deep of a sleep.
Well, they said they were gonna meet up
they was gonna meet up at 7, but they was gonna get up at 5 and get everything like going, and then they was gonna actually hike.
Peep this.
At 7.
If y'all go to sleep at 2, y'all hiking and stuff and adventures and stuff, I need a little bit more rest, right?
Well, that's not even the point. Like,
could the friends have had something to do with?
I don't know.
Or some type of involvement.
I don't know. I'm not
You're not gonna go
necessarily go there since they passed everything. They immediately went to the police, whatever the case may be. They passed their lie detector, so I'm not gonna go there. But the only thing I'm stumped on is like them not hearing anything, like a type of commotion or anyone coming in and grabbing him or whoever did it, or just they just really strategic and professional in what they do. Then maybe. Or my thing is he actually maybe throughout the, early morning, whatever, because it's 2 till morning, 3, 4, whatever. He may have went out and someone, but then I'm like, you wouldn't have known that he would have come out by himself at this time, even if he was watching the cabin. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To even grab him alone. So I'm just kind of like confused on that.
All right, so this is gonna be a lot of people's comments in a Skinwalker, because they love saying Skinwalker around here. Hey, to each his own. You feel as though somebody gonna say an alien abduction. to each his own. You feel that way. But what are the things that we possibly can visually see that could also have happened? Right? Could it have been an animal? Like, let's be real. Could it have been an animal?
I just don't think it was, but
yeah. I'm not saying that's what I think or what I believe. But could it have been an animal? But what type of animal?
I don't think.
You get what I'm saying? And I think if it was an animal and the animal killed him, I think it would have been way more vicious.
Right, you would have. I feel like if it was an actual animal, I don't feel like his body would have been in the condition that it was in. And also, I don't think an animal go hold you for 8 days and then be like, okay, today the day I go,
True that.
No, it wasn't that type of. It didn't feel like that type of attack.
Because reason why, then if that's the case, if some humans did come snatch him up, why did y'all go to the extent to make his clothes look like he was attacked by an animal with the ribs and the scratch marks around the neck, but you actually died for suffocation? You get what I'm saying?
To throw you off to whatever. Like, people do crazy things. We hear crazy stories all the time, like with situations like that. I mean, not per se like this. My throat is clear. It is. It's itchy. But yeah, so you hear situations like this, people, like, maybe a person took someone's life one way, but they do something and, you know, make things look a certain, you know, like, you don't know. You really don't know. I'm just trying to figure out also why. If I'm going off of what I think that it was actually people or a person, why? You know what I'm saying? And how? Because I'm still trying to figure out how were you able to get in the cabin without the other 3 friends hearing anything? You know what I'm saying? And at what point did you come in? Or at what point did he come out? And if he did go out, how did you know that he was going to go out by himself at this particular time? Or we can go back off of you if you feel like it was that. You know?
I feel like he went out. I feel like he actually went out. Like they said with the like Ballen said, without the lack of having socks on. If he did have those issues,
maybe so. Maybe he was. I'm just going to run out here real quick.
Because I don't think he was going. I don't think he was going for a walk. Yeah, because if he was going for a walk, he would have known. Hey, I'm going for further and the discomfort. I think if you going to the John, and you knew you was coming right back, you would slip the shoes on.
And then also, I think in my head, I'm making it seem as if it was more targeted towards him, and it may not have been. It may have just been random. It may have been
somebody out here just has noticed somebody, said, "All right, the next person come out, we're gonna get."
Yeah,
so we
maybe
can
he did just go to the. Sorry.
No, I'm gonna say they could have said, "Hey, somebody could be doing some weird experiments."
Like, you never know. Maybe it was like, okay, maybe he did just go out to the restroom and it was just a random, and he just so happened to be the person, and it just so, you know, who knows?
Could be a serial killer out there. You know what I'm saying? And just saw a room for opportunity. Could have been watching them and said they were gonna get one. Because the thing is, stuff happened. It be so one off, and you don't see it coming. You really don't know if. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be so weird.
And I think for me per se, like, if I was like, you know, the family or friends or whatever, or just someone that's like looking into the situation, I would feel like there's definitely foul play, you know.
Facts.
You know, also because no one wants to talk to the family. No one wants to give over any information. The autopsy y'all did was BS. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? And y'all was quick to close it and be like, this is what happened. Maybe he was this. Like, quick to blame him. Like, put it on him, and that's just what it is. And we're going to close the case and move on. And nothing else has been, nonchalant. Nonchalant. But then when you have someone, the family get a second opinion, they like, oh, no. What they did was BS. Nothing is accurate. This is what happened. This is this. This is that. It really like raises those red flags and make you feel like, oh, something is fishy. You know, something fishy is going on. But I don't know.
I don't know what this one. You saying way more than me this time.
I don't know, because I'm just kind of like.
Because I'm stumped. Like I don't have. I'm not swayed by any direction, because like I'm in my head. I am like, if it was an animal, again, like you said, and I totally agree. The time period is just too long. It's too long of a time period. I 100% agree. And I feel like he just wouldn't been laid out there the way he was. It would have been way more vicious. Yeah. And it seems as though somebody wanted to. Cause this how I forgot who said the way that people after like a serial killer, when they lay somebody out, and it's the way they place their body. And then, because they placed him out in the open, want them to be found. And the way in the form he was found is kind of like a sense of like remorse or regret. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because also, like, when somebody covers somebody's face, they say that's more personal, right? And it's a personal because they can't look at the person. And that's how you know whoever did something to them either knew him or some, you know what I'm saying, of that nature. So they don't want to. But also, if somebody it's not like he just was tossed out. He was placed there to be found. So it's like somebody still like okay, it's over, it's done. He needs to, you know what I'm saying? So it could be possibly somebody.
I'm sorry, y'all, for doing all the coughing. I'm under the weather, but also, I'm because I'm just thinking. I'm like, where could he have
been at this whole time?
Because y'all had a search party, so I'm pretty sure where he was found. Maybe I don't know if it was covered or
it could be an area that's just because nobody's really out there. So who would know?
I don't know.
Like,
I can't say nothing else.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I have no clue.
At the end of the day, I'm stumped on this one. I have no opinion. Because any opinion I'm gonna have gonna sound like it's just gonna keep coming to a dead end of possibilities.
Because you can go, because you have a little bit of information, and you can kind of.
They could have been tortured those few days.
You can kind of go either way. I don't know, but it's just sad that the family has no answers. You know what I'm saying? And that will never get an answer. No one wants to communicate with them, and they 9 times out of 10 will never get one.
Especially what's going on right now, they're not gonna get an answer at all.
So it's just sad. That's sad, but
and
yeah.
for y'all to just write off as he died at that's crazy and stupid, bruh. That really gives we don't really care, and just close it out so we can close the case and move on.
Yeah.
Damn, that's I would hate to go out like that and just somebody be like, oh, we don't really care.
Yeah.
And my family have no answers.
No answers.
That's sad, man.
But yeah.
But hey, man, y'all spam us up in the comments. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts and opinions about it in the comment section down below. But as always, you know how it go, man. What?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, say it.
No, never mind.
No, say it.
No, because then there was still...
say it.
No, because I was trying to think, because I was like, because I'm thinking, y'all. I'm like, if we do go off for like what, if you feel like you may...
I don't know what it might be. So
okay, well, let's go. Let's go.
But you were saying if it was an animal.
No, because I was like, I've never heard of like holding you for a while. I don't know. So never mind.
I think the animal still would have not for 8, 9 days.
Not for 8 days. I'm sticking with what I think. Okay, let's go. Sorry, y'all.
It's always, man. I do go with the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
You do?
I'm sorry.
You good?
I'm good.
You want to sip real quick?
No, I'm fine.
Right.
Let's go.
I do go with the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are. We are.
Go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money low, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.